Ukrainian troops break through the front line of defense. Russian army. Ukrainian forces breaking through defensive positions in the southeastern settlement of Robotyne will reveal the next phase of how fighting in Kyiv's counteroffensive will play out, a think tank assessed, shortly before a Ukrainian official announced that the village had been liberated. On Sunday, that ambiguities about Russian defensive positions in Ukraine's south mean it is unclear how that next phase of fighting will transpire. Breaking through these defensive positions, however, will reveal how the counteroffensive could progress. Kyiv is 3 months into its counteroffensive to recapture territories seized by Russia, and Ukrainian officials have acknowledged that the push to liberate its territories has so far been difficult. A member of an SPG-9 anti-tank recoilless gun crew aims the weapon at Russian positions near the occupied city of Bakhmut in Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast on August 14, 2023. Bakhmut and surrounding areas continue to be the scenes of the fiercest battles since the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion in February 2022. The composition of Russian defensive positions in southern Ukraine and the ambiguities about how Russian forces are manning and equipping them continues to obscure how the next phase of fighting will transpire. On Monday morning, hours after the release of the ISW assessment, Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar announced that Kyiv's forces had recaptured Robotyne and are attempting to advance further. Robotyne has been liberated, she said during a national broadcast on Monday, Ukrainska Pravda reported. In the south, we are carrying out an offensive. This is our main offensive front. In Zaporizhia and Kherson oblasts, the enemy is on the defensive, Maliar said. Our troops are moving southeast of Robotyne and south of Mala Tokmachka. She added that Ukrainian forces had also recaptured 1 square kilometer, 0.39 square mile, around Bakhmut, an industrial city in the Donetsk region that has seen some of the most intense fighting of the war. Ukraine's armed forces have made further tactically significant gains in the south of the country and may have broken through the toughest line of Russian defenses in some areas. Geolocated footage as well as statements from both Ukrainian and Western officials suggest Kyiv's counteroffensive is finally making progress and gathering pace in the western Zaporizhia region. Jennifer Caffarella, Director of Strategic Initiatives at the Institute for the Study of War, ISW, said the developments are starting to look like momentum. The latest ISW report cites a number of indicators. Geolocated footage of Russian drone attacks on Ukrainian infantry show Kyiv's troops have advanced 1.5 kilometers southward northeast of Novoprokopivka, 13 kilometers south of Orikhiv, and south of the recently liberated village of Robotyne, well beyond Russian in front line of defense. Some of this progress had already been acknowledged by U.S. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, who on Friday said, specifically on the axis of advance that they're attacking on right now, they've attacked through the first main defensive belt. On Saturday, a Ukrainian commander said forces fighting in the south believe they have broken through the most difficult line of Russian defenses and will now be able to advance much quicker. Skala, who led some of the troops who recently made it into the recently liberated village of Robotyne, told Reuters he is sure we'll go faster from here. Taken together, the ISW concludes Ukraine's forces are within striking distance of the next series of prepared Russian defensive positions, but cautions that these, although not as formidable as the first line of defense, still pose a significant challenge. The series of defensive positions that Ukrainian forces are currently advancing through were comprised of dense layers of minefields and fortifications to which Russian forces committed considerable manpower, materiel, and effort to hold. The series of Russian defensive positions now ahead of Ukrainian forces likely consists of a relatively more contiguous array of anti-tank ditches, dragon's teeth anti-tank obstacles, and additional minefields, with Russian fighting positions behind these obstacles, much like the first Russian line of defense. Fighting in the area, especially for the village of Robotyne, has been fierce. The village is at the southernmost tip of an offensive push launched by the Armed Forces of Ukraine, AFU, from near the town of Orahiv, in early June, in an attempt to punch through Russian defensive lines along the TO-408 highway, towards its objective in the city of Tokmak. Breaking through and taking Tokmak will be hugely significant, bringing the armed forces of Ukraine one step closer to their goal in the region, reaching the Sea of Azov and cutting the Russia's occupying forces in two.